You have to keep remembering that. Okay. And I'm setting up the Facebook Live. So, actually, if you would like to begin, you can just, oh, one second, let me just type in the description.
Okay, no worries.
A discussion on going vegan the Bronx way. Um, okay, okay, yes. So, and away we go. Thank you so very much. I'm really, really excited about this one. Since the beginning of the year, and people are talking about, what they want to do for the new year and how they want to get back on track or, just really making some changes. So it's really exciting to have this discussion as the first one of the year. So
Yes.
thank you. Thank you. Okay, if you'd like to introduce yourself and just dive right in.
Okay. Well, thank you, first of all, for having me. I'm very excited to be on this platform and especially to talk about this topic because it is that time of the year. The Western New Year where everyone is concerned with starting new goals, starting over and or using what they have done in the past year to continue on that same train of success or accomplishment. So I'm very excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me again. My name is Kristen. People know me as Chef Chris or KrisDaBronxVegan. I'm a Bronx native. And I started KrisDaBronxVegan in 2020 in the midst of the pandemic, primarily out of service to my Bronx community, and also from reflection of my travels in comparison where I have been and where I'm from. A lot of the resources that were afforded in other places that I've lived in, they were accessible, available, being able to have Whole Foods close by, and living in the Bronx and being from the Bronx and also coming back to the Bronx in 2020. I was very surprised by the lack thereof. So it inspired me to start the business, but I've been in the health kind of field for a very long time. I've been an athlete, you can say, of sorts since I was a kid. And my dad was a prior bodybuilder, so it's kind of been in the family. But yeah, it's super important. Health is very important, and especially for the Bronx community. Like I said, I want to be of service. So bringing that resource and helping to bridge the gap and actually close the gap of the food desert that's there and the lack of resources. I'm just here to be of service. So I'm super, super excited about that.
Awesome. So please feel free to share your journey and share your story. Stories heal, and there's somebody who's listening right now who's like, I don't know anything about this vegan thing, and people in the Bronx don't do that, which is not true, but
Not true.
I found so many like Bronx vegan people and spaces
Yeah.
just through Instagram.
Yes, there's many, and to my surprise, it's definitely doubled, tripled within the past couple of years. But I was happy to be in community when I first started as well, and I was surprised too, like, oh, this is here. So if you don't know, the Bronx is pretty big. Most people who know the Bronx affiliate the Bronx with like the South Bronx or like the birth of hip hop. So that may take away from other areas of the Bronx. So I'm from Co-op City. I was born and raised there. So in that area, there's not necessarily a lot of vegan options, I would say. There are now in New Rochelle, White Plains, and Westchester. Um, but It's quite different than other, areas in the Bronx. But in regards to my journey, man, it kind of goes pretty deep. There are quite a few catalysts to my food journey, health journey, and vegan journey. So they kind of all intertwine. Um, Primarily, like I said, inspired by serving my community because of the pandemic in 2020. Like access to vegan food was very difficult for me. So having to go to the grocery store, continually make vegan food was something that I did, as opposed to having access to say like, hey, if I don't want to cook today, maybe I can order out, or, have a little bit more accessibility. It wasn't really there. So another catalyst to my journey was actually my mom. She was diagnosed with thyroid cancer when I was very young, and it really affected me because I love my family very much, and I did not want to see my mom in pain. And so she had the procedure to get her thyroid taken out. Unfortunately, they took away her parathyroid, which caused more complications. And if you don't know, your thyroid is a huge mood, energy regulator in your body. And so my mom experienced a lot of negative things from after that surgery. So I saw how it affected her and how it affected her mood, the growth of her hair, how brittle her nails were. And it inspired me to find a solution. And at that time, I was thinking of also becoming a neuroscientist because my sister had a condition called pseudotumor cerebri and also suffered from meningitis. So I know that's quite a bit, but I was really inspired by my family to find a cure or to do something to help them. So that kind of dove me into health and learning about the body per se. And my first kind of gateway into health itself was adaptogens, adaptogenic herbs, things that are like mood balancers that help your nervous system. And I did that primarily for my mom. And then it kind of started coming full circle. I will jump all the way to 2014 about. I did a detox, and I'm sorry this is a bit long-winded, but it does go very deep for me. I did a detox just to do something different right around this time, the new year. And I did a vegetarian detox by they're two great women, Food in Heaven. They have a podcast, and at that time they had a detox, so I did theirs. And I loved it. I loved how I felt. It was a vegetarian kind of reset. So no meat, just eggs. I did have eggs at that time and cheese. So I did that and I stuck with it. And then after a while, I was like, you know what, let's see if I can be vegan and try it out and see if I can accelerate how I'm feeling. And it worked, honestly. I just got rid of like cheese. I got rid of eggs. After a while, eggs started smelling weird to me. I think that was the last thing that left, that kind of fell off. I wasn't a big cheese eater, just maybe some Parmesan cheese here and there. And then I became vegan, and it changed my life forever. I had more energy. I was less bloated. I still dealt with bloating, but I was less bloated than before. And I just felt really great. I didn't have a necessity to eat meat or any dairy products or animal products. So it kind of fell into my lap quite easily. And then, like I said, in 2020, I started KrisDaBronxVegan to bring that resource to the Bronx.
So, being that the Bronx has, it's kind of seen as like a food desert, and that healthy resources are not as widely available. I mean, they are now. So what are some words that you would give to some people who are aspiring or who just think presently that plant-based just means tofu and salad?
Oh, man. It definitely does not mean tofu and salad. Thankfully, technology has done its thing, and by technology, I mean social media has done its thing to expose and showcase all of the wonderful vegan chefs and vegan restaurants available now. Um, and being vegan is being plant-based, but I like to say, like, you can have tofu. Not a huge advocate of it, but I also like to meet people where they're at. So tofu, the Beyond Meats, the Impossible Meats, while they are processed, and anything that undergoes a process is processed, just to be clear. It's a nice gateway into going plant-based, right? So plant-based is using actual plants to make your meal as opposed to something that is made in a factory. So it's a transition, because for people who are maybe not ready or uncomfortable or are used to what they're used to, their habits, seeing something that looks like meat may work. And then I would suggest transitioning over into more plants. So things that are actually made from, say, for example, mushrooms. Mushrooms are a wonderful alternative. They have the meatiness of actual meat. So they work well as a meat substitute. So like oyster mushroom sandwiches, I always talk about those. They work well as like a chicken sandwich. So, but I also highlight and underline this point as well, that going into plant-based and being vegan is not just about the lack of meat. It's about the abundance of fruits and vegetables and what you can do with them, right? And having that perspective allows you to have some fun, be creative with the vegetables that are available to us. So yeah, it's it's nice to see what people are doing now with actual vegetables as opposed to tofu. And I think salads, it's become antiquated, but when I started being vegetarian, there were no options, just maybe black bean burgers were the vegan option, and like a house salad. And then that was also questionable because we weren't sure if that salad dressing had dairy in it or not. So yeah.
And why does it seem to be more important to be vegan or vegetarian?
Hmm. Um, I don't know if I would necessarily say it's more important, but I think it being vegan is the best option. Um, you are in it from an animal perspective, you are fully helping the environment and saving the animals. Vegetarian it's kind of like that in between eating meat and having the cheese and having the eggs. Um, I don't know, that's kind of a hard question. But I think being vegan is the best way. You're helping the environment, you're saving the environment, you're saving animals. And it just opens up a new world to you and gets you off of the Western diet of that's filled with fat, sugar, and salt. Um, so I think it's more plant focused, I think.
So in our communities, what words do you have for people who have to deal with families and just like, the attitudes of like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you eating or what are you not eating? Or why, you were raised like this, why are you not eating that anymore?
Yeah, it's tough, right? So whenever we do something, we always want to be in community with someone and also feel like we're doing the right thing. And a lot of times it may not be that way, especially in, like Bronx communities. My family, for example, I'll just speak from personal experience. My dad, he may still joke like, "Oh, you're gonna eat tree bark," and I'm like, no, I don't just eat tree bark. And granted, I love him. He makes jokes, but it's a real thing. So Honestly, what I say to people who are making that shift and they're getting pushback from their family is, well, meet them where they're at, right? Because most people decide to make a change and they make that decision from their own um, willpower, and some of it is inspiration from other people, and you can be that catalyst, but the final say is the person who's going to make that decision, right? So meet them where they're at. What I like to do is like infuse some things or make things that look like um, things that people are familiar with, and then I'll be like, oh, it's vegan, so this is harmless, like we can totally do this. And while also like respecting that cultural factor, there are cultures who still, honor vegetables and stuff like that. So that's not to shade any culture, but um it's to say like, hey, we can use coconut milk instead of whole milk. And yeah, so I've done that with my family, and it also shows them that a lot of things are vegan. Like a lot of things are more vegan than they realize. So like even like a smoothie or something, back actually in the pandemic, I made my family a pineapple, mango, and sea moss smoothie. And while they're just like, oh, well, Kristen's vegan, she eats things that are different than everyone else. No, that's not necessarily true. I'm just not eating the meat, the cheese, and the dairy products along with it. So something like a smoothie is also a good way to be like, well, hey, this is actually vegan, and vegan is just that. It's celebrating plants and fruits. Also, I include herbs and other things. So it's like I did that. And then another thing that actually my boyfriend, he loved, it's a recipe by Minimalist Baker, who I love. And I've made her pancakes over and over and over. And my boyfriend, he loves meat. He does. But when it's time for pancakes, pancakes are vegan and he loves them. So it shows people that, okay, this is not as foreign as it's being made to be. Like it's completely not. So meet people where they're at, let them try some things. And sometimes it may be quite deceiving to be like, hey, just try this dish. Because I feel like people just get scared by the word vegan, and it's like, oh, vegan, you're weird, or, you know, it's totally not the case. There's so many more things in this world that are vegan. The fruit that you're eating is vegan. So like the apple that you're eating is vegan. So you know what I mean? It's just showing that side, like this name is not it's not scary.
Oh, so there's a question here, and it's funny you said Co-op City because this person actually resides in Co-op City. What
Oh,
do- what type of services do you provide for our community?
hey. Okay. So I do a lot of events. So the past events that I've been doing, like food demos, I partnered with Bronx Eats Incorporated. I've also partnered with my good friend. She's the Eat School. And we do things like that. So like food demos and stuff is what I've done. I'm also working on a project, and hopefully it'll come through for Co-op City, to bring more food demos there, and nutrition programs. So you heard it from me, but not finalized yet. That's what I have in the works. And then more privately, I do meal prep services. I do nutrition coaching one-on-one. Um, what else? There are quite a few things that I'm doing. I'm creating a program also to help people meal prep. And then I also, before the week opened up, I use my Instagram as a platform for just information. So there was a point I was doing a live every Saturday, um, talking about just nutrition tips. Like you can like tune in. Oh, and my good friend Boo is here also. I am with a transformation group, and I bring that also to our community and help people to realize, healthy eating habits, and, realizing our goals. So that's another thing. I'm doing quite a bit for the community, and yeah.
So you said a word earlier, willpower.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What words would you have for people who are challenged with the willpower?
Mm, Um, well, it's kind of tricky, right? When you make a decision, well, before you even make that decision, you have to have a purpose. So you have to have your why. Why are you doing this? Are you doing it for the animals? Are you doing it for your health? Are you doing it for the environment? Um, and sometimes maybe that willpower will kind of be a little fickle, just like motivation. You know, at the beginning of the year, we're highly motivated. Why? Because it's the beginning of the year. You know, we're about to take on the year so that we can fulfill our goals. And sometimes that may decline a bit. But we have to tap back into that. And when we have our purpose, when we have our why, and for me, it's, you know, healing my family, it's healing my community, it's bringing those resources to them. I always, always, always go back to that. That's my why. That's what keeps me going. Even when sometimes I feel like, uh, I don't know, you know, I feel discouraged maybe, but I have to tap back into that. So whenever that willpower kind of dwindles a little bit, it's still there. It may not be at the forefront, but it's time to tap into that why, or that motivation, and also even getting into community with people, because I find like, hey, like I'm feeling a little down, and maybe I'll talk to one of my friends who's in the same industry, and you know, I bring a problem to them. I'm like, ma'am, I don't know how to go through with this. I don't know how to continue. And they give me perspective. So willpower, it's a good word, and it's also something that you need when it comes to decision making, but it's also something that you must understand. You have to tap into that and continue to tap in so you stay through. So persistence and consistency, and understanding that even when you hit like the pushback from family members that are like, whoa, what are you doing? Or like, nah, you're crazy. You got to tap back in. So yeah. And then once you continue to tap back into that willpower, you keep playing with it and toying with it, your decision is gonna be, you know, it's final. You made your decision, and keep going with it.
So I saw the comment here, willpower is linked to our gut health,
Mhm.
heal the gut. I would love to hear some expansion on that.
I love that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So when I think of that, I think of our solar plexus chakra. So this is where our willpower comes into play, that I am part. And when you have like your core together, right? So your core is like holding you together, and also connecting the top layer of you and the bottom layer of you. Well, the heart does as well too. But physically, like when you have that feeling that in your gut, it can help you and it can keep you going. um I think that's the most powerful part, when you have your core and your purpose together, which is the gut part. I think you're unstoppable. Heal the gut. Yes, we have to heal the gut. That's, and also just another point, I recently just posted my journey with bloating. And the gut, as you know, is not just the stomach, but the large intestines, and other parts of the digestive system. And healing your inside, your gut, primarily where your bacteria is, and how it's regulating things like, for example, like your mood, and your digestion, your skin. There's so many things that help regulate your body. And it starts here. And we can talk about the brain gut connection. That's important too. Once you heal that, like the world opens up. And for me, that's what happened. I had been battling with bloating for a very long time. And so I'm in the process of healing my gut, building up my gut. And so that helps me, honestly, when I'm not bloated. And this is just an example, I feel unstoppable. I feel light. I feel like I can move. I don't feel too grounded. And that's just like the power of, just one example of the power of healing your gut. Um, Same thing with digestion. And I know this may be a bit much. A lot of people don't like to talk about it, but like when you're using the bathroom, when you're constantly passing and your body is getting rid of what it needs to get rid of, you can move a bit better, you feel a bit better. So once you heal your gut, you definitely find your power.
Okay, so what are some things you can do to heal the gut? So basically, yeah, because the gut is like, your solar plexus, your will. So what are some things, yeah, that you can do to heal that, to get that in alignment?
Oh man, so many things. Eating whole foods, getting enough fiber, so that you are, getting rid of what's in your stomach. Glyphosate, thank you, Boo. Glyphosate, as you all know, it's Roundup and it's pesticides that were made that get rid of bacteria, but unfortunately, it also gets rid of the bacteria that's in our stomach, and it's in almost everything that we eat. So removing glyphosate is huge. Stress. So when you're stressed, the spike of cortisol can affect your stomach, and that also affected me as well. And so regulating your mood, regulating your stress, sleep, getting your 8 hours of sleep, and drinking your water. So these are things that are very at the baseline. When you say get your 3 to 5 servings of vegetable, when your doctor tells you that, granted, they are good to say that because you get most, if not all of your fiber from fruits and vegetables. And if you are not having your fruits and vegetables, you're not getting your fiber, and then therefore you're not passing or digesting the way you should be. So that's one thing. And I mean, we can go into other things like, like herbs, tonics, getting your greens, your leafy greens, that's important. Really, there's so many things. Like I said, the gut is connected to almost every system in the body. So once you get that together, then yeah, it's a few things.
Um, like glucosamine. And okay, so that's in Roundup. What else is that in? To make a note of that to
Um,
remove that.
I think it's primarily in Roundup, Boo, if you want to drop in, but it's primarily in Roundup, but it's sprayed on fruits and vegetables. And it's also like coffee, for example. It's in coffee, and it's hard to, you can't cook it out. It's hard to get rid of. So it's a pesticide that, helps plants when they're, well, not necessarily helps, but that's sprayed on plants to help them from not deteriorating and things of that sort. So, and we're ingesting it. So that's, yeah.
I should have asked you, if you had any recipes or something to share, because like I just think, it's beginning of the year, and people are like, okay, I need to make a shift. So like, what's a simple shift to do? Like you mentioned meal prep. So is meal prep something that, you could implement, and how? How would you do that?
Ooh. Okay, meal prepping is, it's kind of a process, right? So the first thing start with, know what you want to eat, right? And know what you can tolerate for the next, say, 3 or 4 days. I don't extend longer than that, mostly because by the fourth or fifth day, the food, especially if it's fresh, you're getting organic whole foods, it's gonna go bad. They're not meant to last that long. So know exactly what you want to eat. And we have the internet, so you can go search, some recipes, like say, okay, I want soup. I can have soup 4 days in a row. And soup is fairly easy to make. Okay, let's search the internet for that. Okay. So I'll just duplicate that recipe or times it by 4. Um, Another tip that I give people, make your list before you go in the grocery store. And also do not go in the grocery store hungry. Eat before you go, because you're going to be eating with your eyes and may not necessarily get the things that you need to get, and could cause you to overspend. And then with making your list, it will help you get in, get out, not spend more than what you've intended on spending, and also help with your stress level, because going to the grocery store can be very overwhelming. Um, And then something that people can have in the new year. What have I been doing? Um, Honestly, for like breakfast, what I like to do, and it's super simple, is overnight oats. I travel myself, so meal prep is very important for me. So I put just plant-based milk, oat milk, or almond milk, and I like to make my almond milk myself. Oat milk, I get, man, I can't remember. I think it's Elmhurst, the name of the brand, and it's only 3 ingredients. So no gums in it. Some oats, chia seeds, and this week I did caramelized bananas. So I put that on top and added a little bit of protein, some chai protein for some flavor, and then that's it. That's a like super simple, easy breakfast item. And then for lunch, I've been making a chickpea omelet, and that's also fairly easy to make. Um, just, some chickpea flour, and you can season it to your liking. You can do a bit of baking powder, some salt, and water, or yeah, and water, just water. You can do milk, but it may make it a little thick. And you can just pour it into a nonstick pan and literally make a chickpea omelet and fill it with whatever you like. That's a pretty quick and easy one too. Should I go into dinner as well?
Because I'm just thinking, people, you're used to like, someone's like used to a hamburger. And then it's funny you mentioned black bean burgers. I'm thinking, I like black bean burger.
I do too. I do too. But at that time, that was really all we had. It was, oh, the vegan option is black bean burger. And sometimes maybe not because the binder was egg. So yeah. But you can have those though, right? So I don't remember the name of the brand. That's a fairly clean brand. I think is it Prager's? Maybe saying it wrong. But they have some good bean burgers and like a California burger, which is pretty good. But if you're on the go, it may not be, well, it could be if you make it before you go out and then just package it. So that works. That works as well. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I remember I loved was it like Morning Star? And this is a while ago, like the fry pats, and then not realizing, later, like, yeah, they were using eggs, but then more
Mm,
I can't think of the brand, the black bean burgers. I would like eat two of them at a time. I can't think of the name of it though. But okay, so it's thank you for the suggestions about meal prep for some of us who are challenged with cooking. You know, yeah, definitely one of the resolutions for myself is to try to be in the kitchen more.
yeah.
And I like to say, oh, I'm supporting local businesses, but yeah, I probably need to be in the, in the kitchen
Right.
a lot more. So in addition to, yeah, can you talk about more dinner and dessert options? Like if you have a sweet tooth,
Oh,
what are some vegan options for a sweet tooth?
man. Oh, dates. Dates are great. Dates are great for sweet tooth
Oh,
because
I love those.
dates are just so good. I love dates for that sweet tooth. Also fruit. Pineapple is really great. Mango. And then yeah, there are like the vegan ice creams that are pretty high in sugar. So if on occasion you would like, gosh, what's the name of the brand? I don't remember the name of the brand. Oh, So Delicious. That one's okay. But it's a dessert, so not meant to have every night. And then some dark chocolate. I like dark chocolate here and there. That's desserts. What else? You can make a crumble, so like a fruit crumble, and that can be made with like a berry and some oats that's in 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 your pantry, along with some, I like to use gluten-free flour and some type of binder, so like an oil or a vegan butter. But it's dessert, so it might be a little bit higher in sugar, but the first couple of ones I think are pretty, like, in terms of staying on a healthier path. But there's nothing wrong with having like a vegan ice cream once or twice. It's no big deal. And then for dinner, man, dinner I usually I make soups, I make stews, I make pastas. Pastas is probably the easiest and most identifiable. And then I'll use lentils or walnut meat as my meat substitute and aka protein. And actually I just made a roasted red pepper pasta with lentils and spinach. So, and that one was fairly easy to make, very good. All of these things, I have so many like meal prepped ideas and stuff. I have them on my Instagram. So if you're wondering like, okay, what does this look like? I have a lot of these examples on there. So please reference KrisDaBronxVegan for some like visuals. And I promise, I've made this also one of my goals for this year is to continue to show you all more about that vegan meal prep. Sometimes I just post just pictures of the final result, but I've seen in my experience that a lot of people like to see it in action. But there's overnight oats that's here, and quite a few other dishes here that I've showcased on how to meal prep. So you can definitely go there. I saw a delicious looking cranberry. Yeah. So thank you for adding that. I made it with this amazing cherry juice that is just so healing. And I wanted to offer an alternative to those who don't drink, prefer not to drink, or who are looking to drink less during the holidays. And as you saw, it was in the wine glass. And I like it because it has that cherry in there. And what cherry does is provide a natural and a high dosage of melatonin. So you're going to get that same kind of effect, like feeling relaxed, feeling in your zone. And yeah, that was a good one. It was really delicious. So I suggest if anyone's interested, go to my Instagram page at KrisDaBronxVegan. And that I think is like the 4th post down. And check it out and recreate it. And please send it to me so I can see how it was for you.
You mentioned something for like a pasta. Did you just say like a pasta something? Okay, how do you do that? Because I think like pasta is like, just a really beloved dish. So how do you do that?
Okay, so I will give you what I did for this week's meal prep. As you can see, or maybe not see, my background is a little bit blurred, but I travel Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, so I'm not in New York City. So currently I'm in Detroit. And I made a roasted red pepper sauce that I also referenced from the Minimalist Baker, which I love. I tweaked it though. It was a rough reference. So 2 red bell peppers, I put some coconut milk in there. I put homemade like Parmesan cheese in there, a little salt, a little pepper, actually red pepper flakes I put in there, and some garlic and garlic and onion. And that's it. And then I just blended it up. And it came up very delicious. And then the pasta that I like to use like gluten-free pasta. And I cannot remember the brand name right now, but it's a brown rice base. And it's really delicious. It tastes just like regular pasta, but just without the wheat and without the gluten. And then the lentils, I just made them regular. I boiled them, seasoned them just a little bit, and then added it to everything and topped it off with some spinach. Just super simple, very healthful and whole dish. It was, if I say so myself, it was really good.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And you do have like a cookbook that's available, right?
I do.
Oh, okay.
I do. I'm actually relaunching that. So there's so many plans for KrisDaBronxVegan right now. And my ebook shows people how to transition using different recipes that I like helped me along the way, and then also alternatives. So say for example, I included and I'll give you a little tip. I included like a just egg omelet, and it was a loaded omelet. And then I also talked about that chickpea omelet as an alternative to more plant-based. So it's a full guide on things that I learned, on condiments, on things to buy in the store, and it goes through categories of which store to get what from and what you'll see where. Um, and then also, like I said, those alternatives. So you can see, okay, well, I don't have to just go to the Just Egg or the Beyond Meat. There are other options here, and it's just as simple. So it's a really great ebook. It was my first product. And it's also recipes that got me through when, the resources weren't there.
Wow. Okay. So why did you choose the name The Bronx Vegan? Why did you just want to like put it out there, The Bronx Vegan?
Um, Honestly, there's no other way to say it, right? When people ask me where I'm from, I'm like, I'm from the Bronx. And I say the Bronx. It's not the Bronx, the Bronx. You can say that, but it rolls off the tongue like the Bronx. And Chris, people call me Chris. They don't usually say my full name. So I was like, okay, this sounds kind of good. KrisDaBronxVegan. And I don't know, I put it together and I was just like, okay. And I wanted something that said the Bronx in my name, because that's who I'm doing it for, these are the people I'm in service to. So I had to include it. So the Bronx it was gonna be in there. And Chris and vegan, just that's who I am.
So what do you want to see in the Bronx in terms of veganism and sustainability?
That's a really great question. Um, Not just veganism, but for me, I want to see more nutritionists that look like us. I want to see more chefs that look like us. I want to see more plant-based restaurants. I want to see more education and resource centers, because while there is a community of us now and we're growing, we need more. And more, I mean, there is a Spanish community, but there's a huge Latino community in the Bronx. We need those resources so that, people when they come and they see, us, they see themselves. So more representation. I want to see more education too, because as much as we can have, like a vegan restaurant, right? Um, have it also be a resource. Like this vegan restaurant is a place that educates, like the food items itself speak for what is possible, right? And we have those examples, which is awesome, but I want to see more of that. Like where I'm from in Co-op City, there's not many options. So like in New Rochelle, there is a new place that opened, Barely Vegans. That's a really nice place I've been to. Jolo's is great. Freckles is also a staple in that part of the Bronx. But just more of it, honestly, more education and more people who are willing to be out there and be like, you know what, gourmet, yeah, gourmet is good. Gourmet Express is good. Yeah, thanks for adding that. That's right over the bridge. But more like, okay, let's go to. I did this live on a Saturday about Bravo. And so my fellow Co-op City person here will understand. It used to be called Bravo, it's not Bravo anymore. And just explored the supermarket and it's a staple in our community because it's been there for so long. I can remember it since I was a kid. And understanding what's in those grocery stores without saying I have to go to Whole Foods or I have to go to Trader Joe's. For one, the closest Whole Foods is in Rich Hill, which can be far from most. So showing the community what's available and what's already there is powerful. So I did the tour of what is now known as something else, which was Bravo. And I just showed like that's the one place I can consistently find seeded grapes. And this whole idea of being healthy and vegan is so like stereotyped and so like stigmatized that it's like it's something that's out of reach for people who live in the Bronx. And that's not true because there are cultures that are based off of fruits and vegetables. And when you walk into this supermarket, it's like burro bananas, baby bananas, the best coconut water you'll ever get in your entire life, the best fruit that you'll ever get. And honestly, it's being vegan has become so commercialized that it's like, oh, the only way for you to be vegan is to go to Whole Foods. And that's not necessarily true. So having more of that, the education part and showing people what's here gives strength to our community, puts the dollar back into our community. And also is like, yo, what you're doing is like, it's not wrong. You know, you don't have to be someone who lives in an upper class to be vegan. It's no, not at all. I mean, Caribbean people, like the amounts of fruits and vegetables that I've been introduced to is amazing. So highlighting that really is like so important. And I think it's great to have that in the Bronx because we're on the mainland, baby. Like we started this, so I want to see more of that. And just like, can I get can I get basics and ShopRite and Stop and Shop and also the local Caribbean stores? ShopRite, I actually have something on Stop and Shop. So thank you for pointing that out. I will put that up on my Instagram. Caribbean stores, the one that I go to is on White Plains Road. And I get my herbs from there and also my porridge in the morning if I want some. What is it
Is
called?
that Sun Life or
Yes,
HIM?
Sun
Okay.
Life. I love
Yeah.
Sun Life. But ShopRite and Stop and Shop has come up. Stop and Shop has come up. They really have. They've like come out with more resources, more things that I don't see everywhere. Like, so, and I'm not trying to shade anyone, but like when you go to a Stop and Shop that, say for example in Co-op City, I can find culturally appropriate foods. So I can find my kalaloo, like it's there. And then I go to Whole Foods and they're like, what is that? And I'm like, gosh, are you kidding? Are you kidding? So Stop and Shop is really great. You can find, they have a lot of organic options. And I know the one in Mount Vernon by Cross County, they have, oh no, I think it's also in Co-op City too. They have in the aisle, it's a green, like it like spotlights the healthy, organic, non-GMO foods. So I think they've done a wonderful job with that. There's also a Caribbean grocery store with our foods on Gun Hill Road. Can you tell me the name of it? Because I feel like I know which one you're talking about.
I don't remember the name. I just know it's on the intersection of Gun Hill and Boston Road. And then there's another one that's further down, that's closer to Co-op City, that's in like a mall. So there's actually two different Caribbean ones. But sometimes you can get the callaloo there, raw coconut. Sometimes they have soursop in there.
Oh, okay, thank you for that. I think I know the one that you're talking about, the one that's up on Boston Road. There's an herb store on Boston Road.
Yeah, Sundial, because Sundial you can get a lot of the fresh herbs and the bitters.
Yes.
And some of our things there.
And then the other one, they also sell hot food there. I'm
Vegan
blanking.
Delight.
Yes, Delight. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. There's so much there, and I want it to be highlighted, for people to know that like this is here. That's where I was exposed to my first herbs, like Sun Life, like just a wall full of herbs. And it's here. This is our culture, you know.
Because actually for us to have Sundial, which is like the headquarters that has like, their bitters,
Yes.
their everything.
Everything. Yeah, everything. I remember I went during COVID to find some herbs. Everything was sold out. I was like, gosh, when are you guys getting your next shipment? I need my herbs so I can keep my respiratory system hard. And even when I came back, it was sold out. I was like, man, I don't know when I'm gonna catch this. So that's also a great community resource.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things hidden in plain sight, even in Co-op City now, over by, I think it's at Dreiser Loop or something. There's a new store with the sisters called the Green Apothecary. And
Oh, I've never been there.
Yeah, it's Dreiser Loop. It's Green Earth Apothecary. It's owned by Miss Bridget.
Yes, I
Yeah.
would definitely visit because my parents live right in Bellamy Loop, right on
Okay.
Groom Place. So, that's Dreiser is not foreign to me. That's right there. That's
Yeah. It's like where the pizza place is kind of like around the corner. It's next to the physical therapy place, and she's closed on Sundays and Mondays.
I think there's another health store that's there because I went there. They have herbs, they had CBD. It may be the same one that you're
That's it.
talking about. Okay, that's it. Yeah, I walked into that store and I didn't know who was the owner. I just walked in and I took a look. It's actually right. Is it right next to where that restaurant is at? I'm forgetting that restaurant. Or is it on the other side?
It's right across from where the community center and everything is.
Yes. Yes, I've been. Yes, I
Yeah,
have.
it's green and yellow inside.
Yeah, I actually bought my mom some CBD lotion from there. So, and they have herbs as well. So that's another great resource. Thank you guys for the reminders. There's so many places that.
And then in Section 5, recently, in the past year, they opened up a place where you can get fresh smoothies and things called, I think, Juice of Life, something like that.
Juice
But
for Life.
something like that, yeah. But it's in Section 5 in a little strip mall
Okay.
where they have the Chinese food and the
I'm gonna
delis.
have to go over there. You know what? In Dreiser, they actually have right next to the pizza shop. They sell smoothies there too, and their smoothies are really fresh. I think it's a deli that's right next door to the pizza place. It's like the two places on the corner, and then the deli is like a little bit over. They sell really fresh smoothies there as well. Yeah.
Also, I tell people if you get even like a basic Vitamix from Costco or something, it's very easy to just make your own. You just get whatever fresh fruits, get some coconut water or something, throw some ice up in there, and you can, people make it complicated because it's a meat-based society, but it's really not that complicated. As you said, like with your Instagram thing, once you're showed, and then even when if you Google how to make basic almond milk or you can make ice cream with avocado. You put avocado in a Vitamix with whatever fruit
Or frozen banana. Yeah. And
exactly.
it's easy. And, and that's exactly what I do. I'm just like, guys, you can, like you said, almond milk. All you need is almonds and water. Almonds and fresh water, a blender, and then something to, sieve it out. And what I use sometimes if I don't have my cheesecloth, I use stockings that I don't even use anymore. Clean stockings. Just
I made to do that because the Vitamix pulverizes it so much. This, it's like, why take it out? It's just extra fiber.
Right.
Put in a frozen banana.
Yeah.
And put some cinnamon and nutmeg in it if you want a little extra flavor. Put some sea moss if you want to fortify it.
Yeah.
You got it.
That's it. And you got it. And it's better than what you're getting in the store. It's filled with gums and all these things. And you can make any type of milk. You can make macadamia milk. You can make walnut milk. You can make cashew milk. You can make all these different milks. You can make coconut milk from the whole coconut.
Sesame seed milk.
Yeah. Sesame seed milk, hemp seed milk, all of that.
Now I have banana milk.
Ooh.
And I was in because there's a health food store on the Grand Concourse for Forever Young. She used to be on Kingsbridge, and now she's on the concourse at like 187th Street. I think her name is Jean. Yeah, I think her name is Jean. And she had banana milk. So
Oh,
I haven't tried it yet. And I bought it because like I've never seen this before, but oh, you love banana milk? Okay, I think I will try that then.
I
Okay.
might have to go there, get some banana milk or make it myself.
Well, I actually like you're talking about supermarkets. The supermarket near me on 233rd Street, like I've noticed the change. Like I started seeing tofu there, like, oh, what's going on here? And now they have vegan cheese. I mean, they really, I definitely can't speak for like other locations, but this the Fine Fair supermarket, they've really upped their
Yeah,
game.
I think that's a good one too. And to that point, there's another supermarket that I came across on Morris Park where I like to get my coconut water from, and also the Simply almond milk. If I do not make it myself, Simply almond milk is only almonds and water, and you can look at the ingredients. And it's the best milk that's packaged. That trust me, it tastes just like almonds. Like there's no fillers, just nothing in there. And I go to that supermarket. I think I want to say it's like Metro something, but it's off of Morris Park. I will make a note to add these resources in. I made a post a while back about Sundial, Sun Life, and Green Garden. So I will add some more there, because this is, oh yes, I actually have Forever Young on that post as well. I have a lot of different things on here. That's amazing. So I'll repost that. And then these other supermarkets, they've been up and coming. Thank you so much for adding that too.
Well, thank you for all that you're doing to give voice to that, in our communities, there's so much of, oh, that's other people's food. And, I mean,
Yeah,
Dr. Sebi has this whole thing of what we call soul food is not soul food.
right.
He has a beautiful quote around it. So I thank you, especially for your generation, to help giving light to the fact that we are what we eat and that we need to be eating healthier so that being diabetic and hypertension and everything isn't just part of who we are, it's part of what we eat.
Right,
Right?
exactly.
Thank
Not
you.
a death sentence. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So this is a reminder for me. I mean, I have my my website, which I really need to let people know I have a website, and where I had been listing, Sun Life and Green Garden and all these other places. But yeah, I need to make a note that there are, you can go to some of these supermarkets that have really upped their,
Yeah.
really upped their game as well. Because but I know someone who lives like 174th and Southern Boulevard, and they're just like, their supermarket is just disgusting because the produce doesn't seem fresh, and there's nothing like they have that's in the direction of health. So I really feel like I don't know what can be done with like some of these other local supermarkets to really improve the quality of foods that they have, and to really get them to try to introduce healthier items to the people in these neighborhoods,
You know,
because those are the people that need it.
well,
Right,
part of it also is a supply and demand,
right.
because if collectively in the communities, we're asking for healthier alternatives. Because if you're in a community where everybody's doing fast foods and they don't have time to cook and they can't be bothered, and oh, that tastes yucky and the whole thing, stores are into be making money. So if it becomes a presence of people coming and asking, do you have such and such a product? If you have enough people asking for particular products. But the other part also is relearning how to shop. Dr.
Right.
Africa used to talk all the time. You should only shop on the peripheral of a store, all the produce.
Produce.
If it's in boxes and containers and stuff, where you got to read 1,000,001 ingredients, that's not food.
Right.
And so many people now like, well, I'm a professional. I don't have time. And also a lot of them have forgotten how to do basics. I mean, iceberg is not what you make with a salad. I don't know what you do with that. You know, you need to have dark greens, you know, like the collards, the arugula, like dark, and it's not complicated. As I said, especially in this day and age, anytime I want to be creative, I go Google it. How do you make so and so? How do you make so and so? So it's not neuroscience. It's not our everyday. And also we've labeled it other people's food.
Exactly. And
One of
that's a
the things
problem.
that might be helpful is maybe if collectively those of us who are more aware create like some type of a support group, be it virtual and or in person, where they know that there are resources where we do them. I remember back in the day, I'm gonna remember when we used to have this store called Sankofa. Every month or so, we used to do presentations. One time I went there with my Vitamix and showed them, it's real complicated. This is how you make almond milk. And you can use, as you said, the granules from it as a face scrub. And
Yep,
they were all like, that's it. That's all you got to do. It's like, that's it.
that's it. And yeah, that's it.
Avocado, you need a protein source. It's real complicated to slice up an avocado and put it in a sandwich with some arugula or some other salad green, and then wonder where's the protein. Avocado is a friend of yours. You
Yes.
make chia seeds, you soak it up, mix it with the almond milk or something. There you go. You got a protein. You got your own little like pudding type thing. Add some cinnamon, not vanilla extract, but I mean flavoring, but the actual extract and stuff. You got yourself, you know, it's not that complicated.
And yeah, and that's the reason why I do the food demos and I show people, like I did two at the Bronx Night Market with Bronx Eats Incorporated, and just showed how to make a simple butternut squash soup. And
Right?
it's mind blowing because it's so simple, but it is not other people's food. It is our food.
It was
It's
our food.
our food. It's available too. So for supermarkets who don't have yet, it does take a community who is looking for that, for example. But it also takes us to be like, okay, well, we need fresh food. We need fresh produce. We need these things. We need these things in the supermarket. So it does take us to do that. Like I can't even say how many Burger Kings, McDonald's, and all these different fast food restaurants are more accessible and more at the forefront than something in our grocery stores and supermarkets. And that's exactly why I do what I do. That's exactly why I did what I did about Bravo. Because I'm like, Bravo has seeded grapes. Seeded grapes. You do not even find seeded grapes at Whole Foods. So, and that just goes to show that it's not elevated or upper class or highest society. No, it's not. We were raised this way. We have these fruits and vegetables. So it's a matter of, telling the supermarket, yes, raising awareness. And that's why I said that education piece. There's also, and I'm not remembering the name, but it's an initiative in New York that's showing the bodegas that have vegan alternatives. And I'm just blanking on it, but when I get it, I will also give that resource. But they go in and they have a sticker that says that there are vegan options in this bodega. And bodegas, as we know, that's the corner store. There's things that are accessible there late at night, early in the morning, get the coffee, all these things, the bacon, egg, and cheese, which also goes into like veggie grill, which is also like another staple in the community. Like this is what people can identify with. So they go to the bodega, they see it, they're like, oh, this is here. This is right here. So it takes that raising awareness to say, okay, guys, it's in our community. We may not know about it, and we may even have to ask for more, but it's in our community. It's here already. So, and that's super important. It's super important. And to go off of, because Boo is here, Boo is a good friend of mine. Yeah, I do have a support group. I have plenty of support groups. One who is helping me with the transformation group that's giving people superfoods and amazing foods. And then I also have another support group, a group of Black women chefs who are showing and showcasing, vegan options in the Bronx, and who also do the same thing. And I'm just going to shout them out. The Eat School, she's amazing. And she lives in the Mott Haven area. And she's just like, she's a lupus warrior, and she talks about, how to how to increase your immune system and how to uplift it. And then there's Brandy. She works with gosh, what's the name of her organization? But she's another chef.
So if people are interested in joining these support groups that they have, what do they need to go about joining them?
Please contact me. The group that I have, the transformation group, is already up and running. So please contact me about the transformation group. An easy way to identify that you want to join that one is Transform. I have put the flyer up on my Instagram, and that will be back up again. And then for the other group, we are developing that one is in the works, but we are getting a lot of things together, and especially for Black women, to have that resource, because, we need that. Most times we put ourselves second or last to everyone else. And just we're getting together to provide, can't speak on it, it's not solidified yet, but we are working diligently to get even more people, even more professionals into our group, so that we can provide that resource for you all. So it's working. So DM me if you are interested in the transformation group that is there. And there's some wonderful people, some beautiful yogis, some just like wonderful health people who are there to support you, including myself. And you can DM me Transform, just so I know which one you're talking about. And then the other one, please stay tuned. Please stay tuned. We are working diligently on this one. So
I think, I get to talking about the other people's food, thinking it's the idea of decolonizing veganism, decolonizing vegetarianism, because it's like how even myself with the whole mission of Bronx holistic healing, like when I started in 2012, it was like, Neferkara mentioned Sankofa. I would do the events and I would have the people on the sidewalk outside doing the Reiki and the massage and the Qigong so that people could see this is not for Manhattan. This is not for Brooklyn. This is for us.
this is for
And
us, right?
yeah, and I would say one of my favorite memories is when we did that vegetarian event in 2014, and I loved looking at the people on the 19 bus, and they were looking out the window. They all look at what is going on. Why is that lady rubbing that person's feet? Why is that person touching them without touching them? Why are people sniffing that stuff? Like, what is going on? It's like, this is for us. This
Right.
isn't just for 96th Street or 86th Street or 14th Street. This is for us. All this natural healing and holistic stuff is for us.
But
Absolutely.
as you said, a lot of that is from being colonized, which is why they don't like to teach our true history in the school system.
Right.
And that's part of it, is re-educating so that they learn. No, that was our food first. And actually the crap you're eating was part of the breaking us down into enslavement by having the leftovers and us making some way out of no way. But those days have gone, and we need to regroup, because think about it. Where did all these foods first come from? In a cold tundra or in the warm climate of our original continent of Africa? Where did it really come from? But we have been so traumatized and brain trained, we don't even recognize our own original foods anymore. Reading books from Dr. Layla Africa and Dr. Sebi, taking back that knowledge. But part of it is because they purposely don't teach our true history, so that we don't identify what needs to be ours. Because even at the Sankofa, that the ending of that store was a political coup, because the owners of that particular building refused to renew their lease, because it's only supposed to have liquor stores and fast food. To have a place that is teaching our true story, teaching about good health, teaching about Reiki and reflexology and all of our originals, and regaining it.
Yep.
The landlord was so racist. It was like, oh, no, that's not the message we're supposed to be giving here.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was too much healing happening.
it was too much positive. It was too much empowering our community. I mean, it was such an issue that community, when they would not renew that lease, went on a rampage, to the point that the landlord of there, he couldn't even use that spot for a year, waiting
Mm,
for the community to calm down. But we need to have that type of proactiveness. And that's why I said, even in these food swamps where we don't get good produce and stuff, part of it is because we're not buying produce, so it sits there forever. So they don't even send the fresh ones there.
right.
But if we start complaining, saying, I need to buy some, but this is crap, it
Right.
puts more pressure on them. But now there's but if everybody's going to McKiller and Burger Kill and everything else, there's not a market for it. I mean, as you said, people like, oh, I don't want seeded grapes because then I got to, spit out the seeds, not realizing without the seeds, it's sterile. So
Right.
what are you actually eating? A fake something. You need the seeds so that it's full of life, because your food is supposed to be fuel, not recreation.
Absolutely.
But to have your site, because you young folks know about all this modern technology and everything, is a real blessing. So it's not being used to poison our mind, but to enlighten our mind. So I thank you for that. With the
Absolutely.
transformation support group that you have, what type of services does it provide people that may want to?
So it provides you a full guide on how to literally inundate your body with the highest grade of nutrients, of vitamins to get you back to homeostasis. That is literally it. And it's sustainable. You can eat, there's a guide on the foods that you can eat, clean foods, to help you get back to an alkaline state as opposed to an acidic state. So, at first it may not taste like it's going to be something that you like. Why? Because your body is programmed to like things that are sugary or things that are too salty. So it'll get you to the place where, like, when you're drinking it, and me personally, when I have, say for example, one of the parts of the transformation is the green shake, and it has up to 6 salads in it, and it's raw. It is the rawest form of a smoothie that you can use, and you can still add fresh fruits and vegetables into it. It tastes amazing, and I blend it with coconut water, and you can have it on the go, which I think is perfect, especially for the busy professional, especially for the person that's constantly working, or even for the mother who has to take care of their children. So I love it. It's amazing. I personally did 30 days. I'm doing 60. I will most likely be extending to 90. And granted, and this is off of the idea that, well, most people think, well, you're vegan, you're healthy, and that's not necessarily true. There's still some reprogramming that I need to do as well. And for example, which is getting rid of the glyphosate that's in my gut, which is most definitely the cause of the bloating, along with the anxiety, along with the stress and the other things that are going on. But it brings you to a conscious level of saying, okay, what am I doing? Am I ready to transform? Am I ready to feel better? Am I ready to elevate my mood? So that's what that's for. And I completely stand by it. Completely stand by it. And I would love for it to be in our community. So that's why I offer that service, and doing it with wonderful people. Like, for example, Boo, who's on here. Amazing, amazing person that can provide support for you along the way. So we're here for that. And, just other things. I also wanted to just talk about Chef Rebecca, because I didn't get a chance to mention her. She's also doing the work, so I just want to acknowledge her. Another wonderful woman that I've worked with, Bronx Park East CSA. She has her own food stand, and I don't think it's open now, but I've done food demos with her, and her food it's just amazing fresh produce, and it's in the Bronx. And she also does Harlem as well. So just to highlight some more beautiful people who are out there doing the work. So those resources are there, and it's just inspiring me to come up with this whole, some more resources for everyone. So it's here, it's in our community. It's available, and we can request it.
Do you do things with children in schools?
That is also in the works. The DOE is very hard to penetrate, but I will be planning a program with another Bronx-based organization, and I cannot speak on it just yet because it is in the works. to do a potential sustainable like urban gardening program with them. So I'm working on that, and I cannot say any more than that. I had to wait until it's solidified, but that is an idea that we are really trying to put together. Another thing that I've been trying to get, but like I said, the DOE is very hard to penetrate, is a trip to do some foraging. So I learned about foraging last year with my wonderful friend, the Eat School. Her name is Jenny Mack. Her first name is not the Eat School. Her name is Jenny Mack. And you know, that opened up another world of what is available to us. So all of these things are here, and hopefully I will be able to get a group of kids out to do some foraging, because where I live in the Bronx, there are parks that have things and plants that are edible and available to us and that are healing as well. So this year is a year of a lot of service to my community. So trust me, guys, I've heard you, and I'm ready for the work.
Yeah, it's that you said, and I said, that's why they call it the Bronx, because we are the only one that's actually a part of the mainland,
Right.
all these other little islands which can float away, but the Bronx is attached, to the mainland, and we have these resources, and I've been saying this for a long time. I had a conversation with someone recently. Oh, there's nothing in the Bronx. It's like there's so much in the Bronx. It's just not as, I guess, with Brooklyn has the reputation of like everything happening there, but there's pockets. I would say with the Bronx, there's pockets, and the thing, I think with the Bronx, we have to kind of start sewing the pockets together. So it's everything is not just isolated, like here in the South Bronx, here in Mott Haven, and then up here, we really need to, really solidify it and get it, unified.
Yeah, that mobility it was a huge part for me, because, I'm from, Co-op City, in that area. And so when I got older and started exploring more where I'm from, it's just the differences, and the beauty in that difference it's just amazing. So yeah, the Bronx gets the bad rep, but but why? There's so much here. There's so much culture here. Our land is so sacred, and getting that out to people is important. So that's also, like, that's the reason why my name is KrisDaBronxVegan. I want you to know where I'm from. I'm from the Bronx. I'm not from nowhere else. I'm from there. I was born and raised in Co-op City. My family is still there. So those are my roots, and they run strong. So
Yes, I say it's hidden in plain sight, because
yep.
especially like from section 5, you have like a walking path that goes right into Pelham Park. And as you said, they have all type of hiking things there. You can even walk from there if you're in good shape all the way over to Orchard Beach. And then there's all type of hiking tours there, never mind the beach itself.
Right.
And as you said, you can do all type of herbal walks and foraging and everything, and it's, as you said, it's right there.
Right. It's there.
But it's so hidden in plain sight, because we've been so conditioned that, we're not into nature. We're not into, I mean, there's so much beauty here. You go over to Van Cortlandt Park, that has a whole other. And also people don't realize how much of our story, our history is actually here, where Botanical Gardens is another great place to learn about. I used to volunteer there for years. They have like they have 2 sections, the Children's Garden and then the Edible Academy, where the children can actually grow things, because as we know, if the children are helping to grow, they're going to eat the fruits and vegetables because they help to create it, but also learn basics. And there's all type of trails and stuff there as well. And if you volunteer there, you've got access. They have the farmers market there during, where you can get. So as you said, there are jewels throughout. And it's just us reconnecting the dots and helping to educate. Because even through the botanical gardens, in terms of getting to the school, they have programs where they interface with the schools. So sometimes collaborating with them is another way to connect with the schools and be able to do things, because they need to have more people that look like us, because it's right in the middle of our neighborhood and everybody else's neighborhoods, but our neighborhood right there uses it.
Yep, absolutely. I want to add to that point too. The Botanical Gardens does food demos. I don't know if they're currently doing them, but I did 2 of them, and then they bring in native Bronx chefs to show people how to make food.
Yes.
And I believe it's free. The people who came, I don't think they paid, but I believe it's free of charge, and you come and you learn about what's in season. And I did a gazpacho, and goodness, so many people were excited about the gazpacho. It's a very simple recipe. Granted, not native to the Bronx necessarily, but very simple recipe to where you can get your fruits and vegetables. And then I did something else on pickling and explaining the pickling process and how we can preserve our food. Like, that is this resource, it is there. And then also the botanical garden with the African American garden is also there. So there's a component of history. And they do stuff for Black History Month. And I want to say that Karen Washington, who is also a native Bronx, a Bronx native, is also doing something there. Don't quote me on that, but I will verify it. I saw it the other day. But she's also talked about the food apartheid, or the food desert in the Bronx. And that's what caused her to create her own farm. Gosh, where is it? It's upstate. But she's also another person who talks about that, who talks about the importance of being connected to the land. And the Botanical Gardens is just one example, but it's there, and it's about educating our people that these resources exist. They exist. You don't have to go to Brooklyn to go get some vegan food. You don't have to go to Manhattan to go get vegan food. Granted, it may take a little extra legwork, but it is here. It's here. So just had to highlight that, because there's like just some really, really great gems that are available, and it just needs more talking like what we're doing.
You can go to North Bronx, which is New Rochelle. That's
Yep.
just North Bronx. um,
That's right.
the New Rochelle, Mount Vernon. That's just North Bronx. Um, to, of course, Jolo's, which you mentioned earlier, and they have a new place there, Get Fresh. I think it's on North Avenue also. I saw it on Instagram, so it's on my list of
Let me
places.
go follow them too.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it's called. I'll find it again and I'll tag you in it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Please.
yeah. And they may not be totally vegan, but they are very progressive health-wise, because they were definitely promoting their smoothies. And I love a good smoothie.
Yes, I do as well. And
So
it's all here. It's all
yeah,
here.
I think one of the things that I wanted to do, even with the supermarket near me, was have some people come there and do some health demos, because that's the place where the people are, and that's where you get to introduce them to these things. So that was an idea I had like 2 years ago. I need to kind of bring that out and do it again, because sometimes in our communities, people say to me, "Oh, you do health fairs?" I don't do health fairs. I do healing and wellness events, because a lot of times you go to these health fairs, who's there? Aetna, Health First, all the insurance companies, and they're doing blood pressure screenings, diabetes screening,
Right,
high blood pressure screening. So it's already the presumption that you're sick.
right, right,
And
right.
keep
As
it
opposed
sick.
to like a full whole life. And I was just talking with a
Food is
colleague
your medicine.
today. It's not a death sentence. It's not a, oh, my life is over. Oh, okay, I have diabetes. Hi, my name is Kristen. I have diabetes. And that's not to be insensitive to anybody, but it is to say that this is not the end, which means that you do not have to stay on this medication, which means that this is not the end. Let's work on it. Let's heal through whole foods. Let's heal in community. And and it's like I said, it's not to shade anybody. I'm open to anyone who comes to me with anything that they're dealing with, but I always say we can do this.
But it's not about shaming, it's educating them.
Yeah,
The fact that food is your medicine, and that
right.
if you change your diet, then you can get off the insulin. You can get off the blood pressure. I've had some people tell me, no, my blood pressure is fine as long as I take my medication. I said, that's an oxymoron. If you need medication for your blood pressure to be normal, that means it's not normal. I said, I have normal blood pressure. I'm not on any. Last year I got sick and I had to go to the emergency room. They were so confused. They're looking at me like, how can you be in your 60s and you don't have hypertension, diabetes, and not be on any medication, and you're a woman of color? And I'm looking at them like, and I was like, you are what you eat. And if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So you got to move it. But they were like that was an anomaly, because it's become almost like a rites of passage. By the time you're in your late 40s, you just got it. And then they don't also realize how a lot of times the side effects of the medication of one condition creates the other ones.
Right.
But if you just shift what you're eating, and well, I can't give up salt. I can't, because they made it so addictive. And I tell them, yeah, it's like a drug addict. You got to be detoxed, but you have a choice. Do you want to be on drugs your whole life? Do you want to detox into, you don't have to be decrepit as you get older. I said, I'm in my mid 60s. My knees are still fine. I can still kneel, go down, get up, and the whole bit, because I'm not eating all this crap. I said, yeah, if you're eating sewage all your life, you're going to be a sewage bin by the time you're in your 50s or 60s. As you said, if you're eating clean, your body's clean. It's just a matter of years of abuse, not because you're just old. That's a poor excuse.
Right. No, it is. It is a very poor excuse. That's a lot of
but it's being miseducated. And as you said, when you're reprogrammed and re-educated, there's, you can turn it around. Your body can be forgiving.
Absolutely. And the body is magical in that way. And it, like I said, there is no final sentence. There's nothing. No, we can start now. And see what you go through. Our body is wonderful and built to do amazing things. The sky's the limit. Sky's the absolute limit.
Yeah.
So
that's why it is worrisome when, there is this assumption that, well, let's check your high blood pressure, right? Because we know you have it. It's like, wait a minute, it's just like they already know, oh, let's just check it because of where you live and because of what you look like. So we know let's just check your risk factors, because already you're already at a high risk for having diabetes or high blood pressure and stuff like that. So that's what's really like disturbing. So it's like we need to shift the narrative into empowering our health, and putting it back into our hands and reminding ourselves that we have the power to do it.
Yes, we do. It takes us to make that decision. Absolutely.
I see there's so many comments on Instagram. I really can't go through all of them, but I can go through some of the Facebook ones. Maybe some tips to help stay on track. We need to stress education. And people on Instagram are saying, yes, the Bronx really is like the best kept secret. We do have a great community here. A lot of agreement with things that you have been saying. It's more than pockets. It's just not exposed enough. More people saying they do live in Co-op City and other places. So yeah, this is a conversation that people are very interested in having. So it's not just like, oh, you're interested in health and you're from the Bronx. Like, no, I'm not an anomaly. There's a whole
there's a whole community. We just have to find each other and support each other and be in community. That's it. We're here. We exist. And also, we don't have to be a trend. We just are. We don't have to be a trend. We're just this is who we are. That's it. We have to get in community.
We deserve a seat at the table of health and economic empowerment. That's very true. That's very true. Um, Banana milk, oat milk, make it yourself. So do you have any quick recipes right now that you could share with someone? Maybe I can type it in the chat.
Okay, can I get a category?
Um, mm, okay, a dinner. A dinner.
Gosh, I'm gonna have to give what I just made. That the gluten-free red red pepper pasta. I can put it in the chat so that it's
Oh,
there.
okay. That good. Okay.
Okay, because I know if I just speak, I don't want I want it to be documented. So let me just write this down, right?
Okay.
So the gluten-free pasta, which I believe it's brown, I know it's brown rice based. And this is the brand that I like, Yada, which is sold in Stop and Shop. Um, 2 organic red bell peppers. You
What is
can
the brand? What's the brand?
Yada. It's right there in parentheses.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Um, let's do any nut milk, literally any nut milk. Preferably one that you can make yourself, but any nut milk, right? Let's do a little garlic. This can be whole or granulated. Same thing with onion, can be whole or granulated. By granulated, I mean powdered. If you are going to use it whole, I would cook it down a bit. So maybe roast it. Roast it. Okay. And this, what's under the bell peppers is for the sauce. A bit of salt. You don't really need that much salt. Tad bit. Let's put tad bit there. What else did I put in there? Oh, nutritional yeast. Just to give it that cheesy flavor. If you want to thicken it, thickening agent, you can use kuzu. Or arrowroot starch. I didn't have arrowroot that time, so I used, actually, I think I left it out. But I have both, arrowroot or kuzu. If you want to use it, or potato starch if you have it, but you don't necessarily need it. So that's for the sauce. And then I made it with brown lentils. Canned lentils are okay as long as the can is BPA free, but I use fresh lentils. And these don't have to be soaked for too long. You can just rinse and cook. So about 1 cup of lentils to 2 cups of water. Yep. And you can add some veggie stock for flavor or vegetable bouillon. Or if you have fresh herbs, even better. And you can boil it with it. Okay, what else did I add? I added fresh spinach. So you would cook the I hope that's good enough. You would cook the pasta according to the packaged ingredients. And then make that red pepper sauce there with those ingredients. You can roast the red peppers, roast all of your vegetables, and then blend it together. And there's your sauce. Very quick and easy way to do it. Cook your lentils, season them to your liking. You may not have to drain out the lentils. I think that's a good enough amount of water that it'll get soaked up. And then once they're done, you can add it to your pasta to your liking.
Okay, so so you cook the pasta according to the directions. Okay. And then when the pasta is cooked, that's when you add the lentils.
Yeah, once they're done as well. And if you want to just put it to the side, you can put it to the side, maybe put a sprinkle of olive oil in it so they don't stick to the pot and to each other. That's fine. If you are, I wouldn't necessarily say raw, but if you do not want that pasta option, you can use zucchini noodles.
Like with the spiralizer.
Yes, spiralized zucchini.
The raw zucchini noodles.
Or if you'd like to saute them a bit, you can, but it would be just fine just like that. It'll just add a nice crunch.
Okay. And your cookbook is available on your site?
Yes, it should be currently. I will leave it up for those who are interested until we do the relaunch. So I'll put it like that. So I will leave it as available. So if you go to, I'm gonna go to my Instagram page right now. You click the link tree. If you click start in vegan ebook, yeah, it's still there. I'll leave it accessible for those who are watching the live, and those who potentially catch it on the replay.
Someone said on Instagram, I've never seen canned lentils.
Okay, so canned lentils are very far and few. Mostly you'll see them in a bag, but I've gotten canned lentils from Wegmans.
Wegmans.
Yes, Wegmans is far up next to the Westchester Mall. So this is not accessible unless you have a car.
Yeah, really? Where? I've heard of Wegmans. There's one in White Plains.
Yeah, so is the Westchester White
Ooh.
Plains? Yeah, so it's right there.
It's right off 287.
Yep.
On Industry Drive. There's also another one down in Brooklyn, over in the Navy Yard.
Yes,
That's a new
yes,
one, right?
Yeah,
It's a new Wegmans. They just made that one. They just
Well, actually, that's
opened it.
built before the one that's up in Westchester.
okay. Yeah, I've been to the Brooklyn
Really?
one. So what? White Plains? No, it's. I think it says Harrison and
Yeah,
in
Harrison.
Yes, Harrison. Yes.
Well, Harrison is right next to
Yeah,
White Plains.
yeah.
Yep.
But if you don't have a car, then it's one or the other. If if you don't have a car, you might want to take the train down to Brooklyn, or if you want to Uber or know somebody with a car, then you can go to 287, and it's just, as you said, in Harrison, just on the outskirts of White Plains, northern White Plains.
Or
So,
if you have Instacart, it's available on Instacart. I'm not sure if they're doing a promotion right now for but if you have funds for the delivery, you get all the same items there.
no, okay, Metro North to White Plains and a lift, about $13. Okay.
Okay, no,
I
yes,
always prefer to go north.
right. It's right next to actually the Wegmans. So since it's close to the Westchester, you can actually take it like where you're going to the Galleria, the Metro North that's right there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then you can take a left.
Yeah. I always try to go north, as opposed to going south.
I get
I'm
it.
just giving folks options because some people prefer to go north. Other people, they go after Brooklyn for other things anyway. So at least they know we don't. We need to sit there and, as you said, advocate for us having one in our neighborhood. It's like, why do you got to go all the way to Brooklyn, all the way up in Upper Westchester? Why don't we have one right here
in the Bronx? Exactly.
Yeah, and just definitely give a lot more exposure to the 13 bus from Portchester. Just giving a lot of exposure. Okay. have busable travel. Um,
What's interesting, Westchester used to be a part of the Bronx
mhm.
until they annexed themselves and then called themselves Westchester, which I find to be very interesting. So for me, even when we talk about Westchester, yes, it is far and yes, it is out of reach. I still consider it to be the Bronx because that's kind of like what I grew up on as well. So, and that's just something that I learned with understanding my history of the Bronx. Dreamy Sunshine says, or call me and I'll take you. You are it's so sweet. Sunshine, I love you. Thank you so much for always supporting.
Yeah, and she's saying there'll be a Wegmans in Manhattan as well, soon enough. So,
So let's
okay.
put in that request for the one in the Bronx.
Right. Absolutely, absolutely. So, I I know you had said you could only give us an hour, and I've definitely learned once we get going sometimes.
That's okay.
A lot of times that goes out the window because this is such a very important discussion. So, what are some words you would say to someone who's watching who's like 2023, I'm gonna go more plant-based. I'm gonna incorporate more plant-based foods into my diet. I'm gonna make some changes. What are like yes, I love that Bronx field trip. What are 3 or 4 things you could say someone could do besides, in addition to drinking more water? What are some things that someone can do for their health right now?
So are we talking in terms of advice or in terms of what to do with food?
Well, yeah, what to do with food, how to incorporate more plant-based.
So let's start with things that where we know of, right? So breakfast, right? I said oatmeal. Oatmeal is the perfect way, or a porridge. It's a perfect way to incorporate fruits and vegetables. So the fruits, it may be a bit easier because most people like their porridge to be sweet. But let's also think about this. You can also add zucchini in there to start adding some more vegetables. If you are doing something like lunch, so your soups, add some fresh vegetables, some fresh greens in there. So you can have like your chickpeas, you can have some potato or sweet potato, and then add in a kale. So things that include fruits and vegetables already, be intentional about it in that way to help you guide you on your plant-based journey. Smoothies as well, same thing. So and count up. It's my second advice. Make sure you are getting your servings of fruits and vegetables so you can ensure your intake of fiber, which will help your digestion. And then food wise, for a third option, search the web. Follow me on Instagram. And follow people, like follow people who follow me, or follow who I'm following, because that's the way you can be a gateway. If you don't know anyone or anything about being vegan, start looking for it, right? So you follow me, look at my followers, look who I'm following. Most of those people, if not all of them, are vegan or vegetarian or plant-based, which will open up a world of resources. And then don't be afraid to ask questions. So that one's not necessarily about food. It could be, but don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't be afraid to make mistakes, because it will happen. Yeah. So use things that you know. Oatmeal. Oh yes, I like the books. I love the book suggestions.
Is there a difference between vegan and plant-based?
Yes, there is. Um, I would assume, I would hope all vegans are plant-based, but I think vegan has become a trend so much so that processed foods has taken the place of plant-based foods. So processed foods, and what I mean, for example, is like a Beyond Burger. So yes, while it is vegan, it's not necessarily plant-based. Plant-based is made from plants. So if you want to have a chicken burger that's made out of oyster mushrooms, that's closer to being plant-based than, say, for example, a Beyond or Impossible Burger that is like processed, to say the least. So yeah, being plant-based and being vegan, there is definitely a difference. So you can be vegan and not be getting the plant snatch. I mean, there's so many meat substitutes right now. And you're technically still vegan, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're plant-based or eating less processed foods.
Okay. I guess one reason I was asking that is, people might feel intimidated by the titles as well and feel like I'm not doing it right,
Right.
you know?
Right. Give yourself grace. I've made mistakes too by not reading ingredients or not being diligent. Please don't let it intimidate you. There's so much resources, so many people, so many books out here that can help support you. And I know that's like a blanket statement, but it's true. And it's something that you can do. It is within reach. So there are resources, like I said, for example, like my ebook, like my Instagram, like all the other people that I mentioned on this live that can support you in your journey. And yeah, if you want to say, okay, I'm going to make a vow to go vegan, there are the meat substitutes. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of them, but it is a gateway. But don't stop there. Let's keep going. Let's go into plant-based. What can I do with a zucchini? And there's so much resources on making like zoodles, zucchini noodles, or using it in your oatmeal, or making a soup. There's so many different things out there. So use your resources. The internet is probably the best resource out there right now, because some may not have, and I want to just consider that as well. But start looking for it. Go to your bodega and start seeing, ask questions. What's this? I've never seen this before. How can I find out what this is? Go to your local, yes, Queen of Foods book is great. Go to your local market and start asking questions.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you because this has been like fantastic. And this is truly, I feel, set the tone for the year. It's been most helpful and most supportive. So I definitely want to thank you. And please give us your name, your Instagram, and where people can find you online.
So my name is Chef Kris. I go by Chef Kris or Chris. My Instagram name is Kris, KrisDaBronxVegan. My website is BronxVegan.com. But I am more easily accessible via DM. So send me a message. Would love to chat.
Okay, awesome. Yay. This has been fantastic. And your words, I feel, have been a great comfort and support for those people who have decided that 2023 is the year. This is the year that I decided that I'm going to implement some shifts and some changes. So thank you very much for being a support. Um, Thank you, Bronx Vegan, for being here for the first Transformation Thursday, week 112, the first Transformation Thursday of 2023. Thank you very much. And Transformation Thursday happens every Thursday here around 7-ish, just tune in. I'll start eventually. 7-ish here on Zoom and live streamed on Facebook and on Instagram. And I'm pleased to say that I've got a full schedule lined up for the month of January and February. So I will be posting our guests, and this is going to be a true year of transformation and fantastic changes. And I just want to thank everyone who's watching. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Nefakara, and thank you, Dreamy Sunshine and SNS Health and Wellness. Thanks for all of your awesome comments. I appreciate the feedback. So please follow Kris the Bronx Vegan and her website, bronxvegan.com. If you like the replay of tonight's session, you can reach out to me. It has been recorded, or you can also see it on Facebook, and it should be on my Instagram, Bronx Holistic Healing. Thank you, everyone. Have a most wonderful and delightful evening. Thank you. Thank you. And I will see you all again next week. Have a
Bye.
great
Thank
evening.
you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Peace and love.
Okay. Oops.